Hello, Pennant Chase fans. This is your webmaster, Guy Bocci, and I wanted to take this opportunity to give you a quick look at some of the changes that are coming to pennantchase.com. The entire site has really been sort of re-architected and rebuilt, particularly behind the scenes. A lot of work going on, rebuilding the database and trying to build the site for the future so that it can grow and that it can sustain a lot of activity and a lot of new leagues, and a lot of cool new features are going to come with that growth. So let's just jump to the Join League page. This is where you're going to see the first big difference. And you'll see now that we've split up the automated leagues and the public leagues into their own categories. We've been having a lot of individual commissioners, really creative commissioners coming in and starting their own leagues, and the public league section has really grown to the point where we really need to split up these two options. So, automated leagues, you'll be able to join leagues as you always have been, a little more detail around each league, the year range of the statistical players, whether the league has keepers, how long the season is. And if I go back to the public league option, you can now join public leagues as well, and we've given some more information here. The commissioner will now have a rating, so that rating will be based on feedback from the community, and you'll be able to rate the commissioners. I think this is one of the most important things for public leagues because they really hinge on how dedicated the commissioner is, and we want the best commissioners to obviously get credit for that, so people know when they're joining a league how good a commissioner is doing. And if you're not doing well as a commissioner and you have a bad rating, you're going to have a hard time getting people into your leagues, and that's what we want to do. We want to force people who are going to be commissioners to take the time to create a good league. So the rating system will be in place for public leagues. I'm just going to go ahead and jump into a league and show you some of the changes that are underway. So the homepage is fairly similar, but you'll notice now the team logos are going to be down the left-hand side. You've got your similar options on the right side, including the messages, the transactions, your league poll, and this is also where you're going to have the rate commissioner option. So everyone in a league will be able to rate the commissioner of the league. One of the things you're probably noticing right here is where's all the left-hand navigation that had all the options for the league. And that's now been moved to this drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner. So this was a pretty critical move to make because it's going to give us a lot more real estate for every league to do a lot more things on the page. So I've moved the main menu for leagues now in this little drop-down. And you can see if we take a quick spin across the league, here's, for example, the scoreboard page. And now what's really nice is that we can have, two sets of scoreboards on one line. We don't have to scroll all the way down the page. More real estate on the page is going to be really nice across the board. If I go to the standings page, again, you'll see a lot more room on this page, and because of that, we're able to add some additional statistics, runs scored, runs against, the differential. You've still got your streak and your last 10 games. And then we've got this little flyout menu for each team that's going to allow you to quickly see the advanced standings for every team. So when you pull out that flyout menu, you'll get all the information about that team, the record, the home road, record in the division, record with scoring, tied after 7, lead after 7, extra innings, and of course all the head-to-head matchups within the conference. So really handy stuff. And the schedule page, I'm going to skip over that one because it's pretty similar to what we have today. There are really no major changes there. Player stats has changed pretty dramatically. Now going to be one sort of central area where you can have a view into whatever stats you want. You can flip between batting and pitching. You can flip between compiled and real. You can sort it based on whatever you want, as you can today. You can toggle between teams. You can toggle between majors and minors or majors and minors. So this is kind of your one-stop shop for all player stats. And this is where you can see league leaders because you can sort by statistical categories. And now we're highlighting what category is being sorted on, and hopefully going to be a really handy page to do whatever you want from a statistical standpoint. The other thing I want to point out is that each player now, you'll see, has this flyout menu option. So you can expand a flyout menu for any player, and it gives you a bunch of quick links to do lots of different actions. So for example, this player, Joe Jackson, happens to be on my team, so I have an option to drop him. I also have this change stats button, and this is going to be a cool new feature on the website, is that it's still a work in progress, but what you're going to be able to do is for some leagues, if they will allow you, you will be able to pick a historical stat year that you want to use. Maybe a player has a year that you'd rather use versus the one that was picked for you, and you're going to be able to swap out the stats for that player if your league allows it. And of course, you'll only be able to swap stats based on the range of years that your league allows. You can, of course, you got demote to minors option, see league history, which will show you all the stats for that player in that particular league. And another cool option will be compare across leagues. So we're going to give you the ability now to see how a player is doing across leagues that are similar. So you'll be able to look at a player's performance and how he does in a more general sense, and it will help you determine whether you want to draft that player or not. And then see other seasons. This is that's the option to see a player's real historical stats and determine if you might want to change to a new season. So that flyout menu for players is going to be really handy. And you know, when you have a supplemental draft, you're going to be able to add players to the supplemental draft just through the flyout menu. And I'll show you that by going to the free agent list. So now I'm on the free agent list, which you can see looks similar. You can choose your position or switch to pitchers. But if I expand a player on the free agent list, I now have the option to sign the player or add the player to my supplemental draft list. And when I add the player to my draft list, it just takes one click and it's done. He's now added to my list. And I can now go back. I can now add another player if I want. Now this player says remove player from list because he happens to already be on my list, so I can remove him with one click of a button. And he's removed from my list. And then once I've added players to my list, I can jump to the list like usual and sort them. I don't have anyone on my list right now because I removed the one player who was on it. Let's take a look at the power rankings real quickly. Power rankings, pretty similar. We've added the differential here to the power rankings. The power index is still calculated in the same way, and giving you a quick glimpse at who owns each team right here in the power rankings. That's something that people have been requesting, is that they'd like an easier way of finding out who owns which team, and so now the owner is going to be included on the power rankings. MVP Cy Young page is pretty similar. Nothing really different there. The only thing I would say is that we are adding a couple of more statistics to the game. Hit by pitch is going to be included for players' real stats as well as wild pitches. So today the simulator just kind of makes a broad guess in terms of wild pitches and hit by pitch. That stat's now going to be pulled in and calculated in the sim. So someone who gets hit by pitched a lot in real life will have a greater chance of being hit by pitch in the simulation. A lot of these other pages are pretty similar, so I'm going to skip over those for now, and I'm going to jump to my team page. And so what you're going to see with the team page, some slight changes here. Your options, your owner options, are going to be down the right side, and these little icons will help you tell you what your options are. If you play in a league with contracts, the contracts is going to be moved to the lower left side here. You've got your game log and then your trophy case to the right. Let's go to the edit lineup page. And one of the nice things here, not a lot of big changes, but now got this switch to compiled stats button. Something that people have mentioned quite a bit is that they'd like to be able to switch between real and compiled stats when they're doing a lot of their team functions, like setting their lineup. So instead of having to open the roster in a new window, which everyone does today, you can just click this button, and now when you're editing your lineup, you can edit it with the compiled stats view. The same thing goes for your rotation. And you can see now that when you're setting your rotation, we're including more stats for you to view while you're setting your rotation. Again, the whole concept of this redesign is to just give you more stats, more information right at your fingertips when you're making changes instead of having to jump all around the site. So now setting your rotation, you'll have the stats right there, and the same thing goes for the bullpen. And again, a lot of this is because of the improved real estate on the screen, and that's really why I took the navigation and put it up here in the upper left, because that navigation down the left side was really taking a lot of space on the page, and now that we have more space, we can include more stats and do some cool things. Strategy, a couple of new strategy options are going to launch with the redesign. The one I want to point out here, allow manager to surprise bunt. You can choose never, rarely, balanced, or often. A lot of people have mentioned that they'd like to have some sort of control over when the computer manager does a surprise bunt with fast runners. The other thing that a lot of people have mentioned is the latest inning to consider bringing in the long reliever. So you can now set how late in the game you want to consider your long reliever. A lot of people have complained that they'd like to see their long reliever come into a game more frequently, and so if you extend this to the 4th or 5th inning, you could potentially see your long reliever coming in that late in the game if you want. If you don't, you can set it to like the 2nd inning, and that's the latest your long reliever would ever come into the game. So those are the two new strategy options that I want to launch with the site. Let's go back to the My Team page. I'm going to be running out of time here for this video because I know that I've only got 15 minutes to post this video on YouTube. So I'll just give you a quick look. For example, offering trades. The same thing here is that you're going to notice, again, when you're doing things like making trade offers, you have more stats at your fingertips. And just trying to make it a lot easier to do things without having to jump around and open up a bunch of windows. And so you can see now when you're picking players to trade, you've got some stats right there to make your decisions for you. And same thing with promoting and demoting from the farm system. Again, just more stats available. I've done the same thing in the draft room, giving you some more stats right there while you're drafting players. So I hope that helps out as well. So anyway, that's a quick glance at a lot of the changes that are going on for the new website. And at this point, I'm really hoping to roll it out maybe the week after Christmas. And of course, the new website is also going to have 2010 leagues, which I know everyone is anxious for. All the stats are ready to go for 2010 in the new website, so I'm really looking forward to that. There you go. That's the preview of the new PennandChase.com, hopefully coming very soon.